everyone! This is Kaiju Okami. Well, I'm not Kaiju Okami. I'm Krulika Kane. This is Kaiju Okami. The reason I'm doing this right now is because Kaiju Okami is in pain.
Yes, if they've seen the last few videos, they already know this.
Yes, but he's so far in pain, he's going to a doctor.
I never agreed to that completely.
Just.
And that's not really why. And the pain has nothing to do with it.
Oh,
but
I
it's
know.
so you can stop freaking out on the inside.
Yes, that is very true. I'm like a bundle of nerves right now. But nevertheless, we have a very mysterious guest with us here today.
Yes, I'm part of a secret organization that is defining the world through a game. It's called the Pong Tournament.
The Pong Tournament?
I thought it was just Fortnite.
That's right. If I can slip my balls past the other guys, I win.
And do you use a tube to do this?
No, we just hit our balls with the paddle really, really hard.
Okay. With that said...
so mysterious.
With that said, this mysterious figure is 5, 4...
Five Nights at Freddy's.
2,
1.
1.
That's gonna tickle you.
And everyone goes, duh.
Everyone goes down, but hey, at least Gates give me the opportunity to put this to good use.
So yes, we are here to talk about Kamen Rider Gates episode 1.
Uno.
So, episode 1. I'm just going to start off the review with the phrase that I mentioned to him. Well, mentioned to both these guys, but you didn't watch all of X8, so
No.
it goes over your head.
Like many things.
But the writer of X8-01, who was doing Gates, is doubling... Gates.
I know.
Geats.
Geats.
Geats is doubling down on the whole anyone becomes a rider motif. That happened in second act of the series?
You get to be a writer, and you get to be a writer, and you get to be a writer.
I don't know anymore, but the latter half of the series.
Yes, everyone gets to be a Kamen Rider because merchandising.
So, how I look at it, it's Highlander versus... Oh, God.
So Ryuki...
So...
But they're not fighting against each other. At no point do they attack one another.
No, they don't... But they sabotage one another.
Well, actually, they just talk like online people. Yeah, you stole my kill.
Yeah, okay. So, there we go. Highlander versus Halo.
Oh, and if you've watched videos about Halo Infinite, you know that's a very harsh comparison.
So, basically, yes, Ryuki with,
Well...
Ryuki and X8 merged together, and...
Basically, Toei had said the series was meant to be similar to Fortnite.
And who in this room knows anything about Fortnite? Like, okay, what do you know about Fortnite?
It started as a zombie survival game, but the arena aspect actually took over. You can build structures to aid you, and you wear really increasingly grandiose costumes that you pay for, microtransactions. Gotta get that money. Ka-ching! So, yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the king of the... What do they call it? The Dota? No. That genre where you're in an enclosed space that's continually shrinking.
Oh, so it's not an open world. It's not a sandbox game.
No, not at all. There is a literal firewall drawing in upon you.
Oh, kind of like what happened in the restaurant with the brother and sister.
Exactly right. You have a confined area. It should be shrinking.
Well, I don't know if they're brother and sister, but...
They are.
Yeah.
They are because he kept calling her a Nechan. I don't understand why the subtitles listed her name.
I think just to let the audience...
But I heard him say One-chan, and so I think older sister?
Yes. So, we are introduced to our character who, I don't remember his name. So, in the spirit of Ultraman,
Ultraman.
We're gonna make up names.
Optimistic.
Are we talking about the guy
The
we like?
characters. Yeah.
The guy we like or the guy we don't like?
The main character.
The main character in the job interview, Mr. Optimism.
Well, then I call him Idealist.
Optimism Idealist.
Mr. Optimism Prime.
But he...
Ooh, Optimism Prime. That is awesome.
All right, then he is Optimism Prime. But I declare the Geats actor is Douchey McRider.
Yes. And then the bull...
Bullshit?
China Shop.
China Shop. Bull in the China Shop. But, so Optimism Prime. In my human resources motif, and I've been asked this question multiple times as well, and I answered just as poorly, well, tell me about yourself, da-da-da-da-da. What are you wanting to get out of this job here?
To not starve and have a home?
Well, his response is...
World peace.
No, his initial response was to do whatever you want me to do, which is, and I'm saying this as a person who has said the response multiple times and a person who's been the interviewer, that is technically a terrible response. It's never to do whatever you want me to do. But the hardest answer to ever give during a job interview is what you as an individual want to get out of this.
And that's the one thing that drives me nuts. We know they're applying for the job because they want to make money. Why not just let people be honest in an interview? I want to make money. I don't want to starve. Well, cool, you're hired.
Because then for all they know, you will do the bare minimum to collect a paycheck.
Well, you can I'll feed them all this bullshit. Still do the minimum anyway.
There is that truth. You can say, I am looking for a growth opportunity where I can utilize my skills to...
Oh, hang on, I'm writing this down.
Yes. Everyone stop, pause, grab a notebook. I'll wait.
Why do you have to wait? They could just pause.
That's true. Best answer. I'm looking for an opportunity where I can enhance my skills and provide you the tools necessary to grow product, team, what have you. It's a BS answer that, as he said, anybody can give and still do the bare minimum.
But that's what I'm saying, though, because people are applying. I've never understood that question. I'm applying to your job because I want to make money.
Okay, there is a difference between saying it for a professional environment versus... But nevertheless...
But you wouldn't be applying for that job if you weren't going to make money from it.
Nevertheless, we're going to move on. Nevertheless, because if we continue down this, I will have an hour conversation about human resources, and that's 2 minutes of the episode.
All I know is that watching that dude, though, I just thought of Yakuza with the job interviews.
Well, I do want to know, do you ever ask the 5-year question? Where do you see yourself in?
2 5 years, yes. 2 or 5 years.
See, that's the question I find baloney.
Oh, I've gotten that question even at my current job multiple times. Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And in my mind, it's exactly the answer you say. Working, making a paycheck, living.
Where do you want me to be in 5 years?
Well, and that's kind of where in your mind you're like, okay, am I playing this game of psychic right now? Like, what do you... Because I was asked that question recently, and I'm like, I want to grow, but... And you don't know how to phrase it because the challenge, which I think is where you're getting at, is you could either go too far, scare the people off because they're like, oh my God, this person is wanting to take my job, or you can go too little and the person is like, well, this person doesn't have any motivation.
Well, now all I'm thinking of is Charles Xavier as a interviewer.
Oh!
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Wrong!
Oh, X-Men.
Wrong! I can kill you with my mind.
But...
Can kill you with my mind.
Now, his response then, like, okay, what do you actually want? World peace. That is admirable. That is good.
how is that job going to accomplish it?
Exactly.
Now, really, what was the position he was applying for?
Probably an admin assistant. But nevertheless, it's a tricky situation. So our character, basically, because we find out later when he was like, yeah, maybe I should just do the lottery and become a billionaire. And his sister's response was, even if you saved enough money to do the lottery, you would give it away to a conservation group. And I'm like, so now we at least understand our character. Like, I truthfully feel like that comment alone helped me get a complete grasp of that character. He wants to protect the world.
Now, my question is, the lady in the interview line, she like leaned away from him and she said, real piece. It's like, oh God, you're a Republican, aren't you?
Anybody who does something like that, like anybody who has that visceral response during an interview, should never be an interviewer. Just gonna say.
And I'm just like, why are you all leaning away from a guy saying, I want world peace?
I guess it's overly optimistic, where we get the term optimism prime. But then we go to where he sees his sister, and his sister is just watching online videos.
As they're supposed to be eating together.
Which is a very big pet peeve of his, I might add.
Like, if you're going to a restaurant with me, you're paying attention to me, not your freaking phone.
Yes, he's very utilitarian.
I mean, I'm not talking about just checking your phone real quick to see if to look something up that you need to do right then and there. I'm talking about where you're just watching a video. Like, why even bother going out to eat then if you're just going to be watching videos on your phone?
So she's watching these videos of a woman named Neon. When I first saw her, I actually thought she looked like a middle-aged woman.
Really?
Yeah. And then when I saw her again, I was like, oh, she's younger. Okay. So apparently she is kind of like the Kardashians and the Paul siblings, where she is famous
for being famous. And she's running away from home again.
Yes, because we have 2 security guards, which I'm like...
Who look like they just walked out of Final Fantasy VII.
I was thinking Men in Black.
Yes.
I was thinking of the dudes from 7.
Reno and the Turks.
Yep.
But, I mean, even as they were charging those monsters, I was like, no, Will Smith! You're the only black guy I've seen in a Kamen Rider.
Really? Probably for this series, yes.
Well,
because there's one every series.
What, there's one black guy every series?
Actually, yes, there is.
Does he die a lot?
No, it's just a different... Because there are a lot of... There's a huge African-American... Well, not African-American. There's a huge Afrikaani community in Japan. But primarily in the Tokyo area.
I don't remember seeing a black actor in...
well, I don't think there was one in Revice. I just meant...
In Drive?
Well, we had one in Kamen Rider 5.
And 01.
01, but wasn't he a robot?
He's still a black actor who played a robot.
I know, but I just find it a little insulting when your only black actor is then not even human.
Well, and then when you have Lupin versus Bata Ranger, I thought that was really cool that...
Oh, yes, the chief.
The chief, who was African-American.
And then you had Bucky Bonds in Abba Ranger, who was also in Mega Ranger.
You all do realize that half the stuff you quoted I've never seen. Sorry. At least.
But nevertheless...
You would like Mr. J in 5.
But moving on...
Wait a minute, Mr. J? And I'm talking about the Men in Black here? What? Ooh, Illuminati confirmed.
But, so we have 2 security guards. But with that said, it would be cool to see a lot more diversity in Kamen Rider. Just saying.
It's a common problem.
Yes. But...
Well, we're going to get a lot of diversity of ages and genders as we...
Kill them off.
Have every single person
being in the world. So then we get this mysterious chickadee. Who is kind of explaining what's going on. And we see these 3 dudes who are riders du jour of the episode. We have a bull, we have a polar bear, and we have our titular character, a fox.
Who's got an ace up his sleeve, even though this isn't...
And our...
Blade was almost a decade ago.
And so, the bull, or as we're going to call him, China Shop, because of the phrase, not anything racist, it's the phrase, bull in a China shop.
Would you rather just call him Shop?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
But
Shop till you drop, and he did.
so Shop is a complete asshole because he is
He's the 12-year-old playing in an MMO that
Well-
would just be teabagging the opponent after they fell on the ground.
isn't in dot hack wouldn't he be called like a PK?
A player killer?
Yeah.
He didn't kill anybody.
No, but that's well in that vein.
Maybe PS, player sabotager.
Okay. Ooh, piece of shit. I like it.
All I know is he's that troll who tries to make you feel like you're as bad as he is, and he expects to be celebrated for it.
And
I will say I did like his chainsaw sword.
Okay, I did actually like the design of his armor.
well, yeah, same here. The polar bear kind of
He's
that
just basic.
helmet was a little weird. I did like the fact that he was the first one to help kind of step up and try to save people rather than fighting the grunts.
Yeah, he's not. He realizes. Okay. He's looking for points,
Yes.
It's a game.
It's a game.
but there's unlike what Shop says,
Mm-hmm.
you can pursue a personal goal and be magnanimous to other people.
Well, and he even says, I'm a firefighter. So it kind of makes
Well,
sense. It's almost
just
in
think
his
of-
blood.
Just think of Sky High from Tiger and Bunny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's well, and that's another thing I thought about was Tiger and Bunny, except for the fact that it's not like promoted, like the world doesn't know.
Doesn't know. But honestly, I was thinking between, well, we had a black actor, and then suddenly we had a big teddy bear head. And I'm like, oh my god, is Afro Samurai going to show up?
Oh my god.
Could we get the ninja to give commentary? Is that an RPG?
So then we see our titular character sitting in a coffee salon or saloon, basically the high class version of like a coffee shop. And the waiter is like, are you not doing anything? And that's where we get the whole ace up his sleeve type crap.
And where we call him Douchey McRider, because
Oh my god.
Kamen Rider is perhaps the only series where your lead writer is actually not the guy you root for.
Generally, yes.
I mean, in Super Sentai, there have been a few...
In his defense, he has more personality than Kanata in Decker has in just this one episode.
Okay. Personality notwithstanding, I'm curious, baby, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'd get to them, but I figured I'd wait till you just fully recap the rest of the episode.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, and honestly, I want to contest that whole personality commentary.
Kanata is even more bland than Smile Smile was in Trigger. Kengo. I hate Kanata because he is just so one-dimensional. He makes that card look deep.
Okay,
But okay, moving on to...
I was going to say, we're not reviewing Decker right now.
I know, but okay,
Yeah,
so...
your review's got to be right on time.
Geats.
Just Geats.
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 Just think of it as G-W-A-T.
Yes.
Despite the spelling.
I didn't hate this episode, but I actually have no feelings toward it whatsoever. It just... We watched it, and it was a thing.
Well, that's kind of lackluster.
I
expected more of a response.
I don't think it was as terrible as Zenkaiger's premiere, but it was nowhere near as solid as 01's. Comparing it to Revice, like the first time I watched Revice, I was kind of lost because of how rushed everything was. In this one, I don't think they told us anything. We don't know anything about this world.
Actually...
Let me continue.
Okay.
Instead, you can test every time.
Well,
You told me you wanted me to talk.
Okay.
But this world is just, we don't know anything about it. It was just, and it's not in the mysterious, I want to know more kind of way like Don Brothers. Here it's just, okay, it exists. I Don't care for the rider designs. I mean, I do like the Gates' design better than Revy and Vice's, except for I feel like the boots are too clunky.
Well,
But-
01 and X8's Rider loved clunky ass boots.
But I just feel like that this is
Oh
just...
yeah, you look at.
I'd have to relook back.
01 was not that clunky.
I thought they were.
Oh, well, we have to have a clunky. Can we have a clunkiness meter? We start at basically naked feet, and we go up to, what is it, Holland cloggers?
Oh my god.
Gates himself, I think he's just trying to be too much like Tendo from Kabuto. He's just trying to be this egotistical jackass, but Tendo actually had charm to himself, and this guy has none of that.
Well, bear in mind this is the first episode, so we're all basing this off of just one episode.
Yeah, but even in Kabuto, he did have charm right in the first episode.
When he raises his finger to the sky and basically says, "I am God."
Well, he is like the greatest narcissist egotist.
Yeah,
Narcissistic egotist.
he's not Trump, I promise you.
Well, honestly, I was thinking more of Bill.
Oh.
And he always said he was a narcissist, but he cared a lot about other people. He's not a narcissist.
But, it's the other part is it's just basically it's the same thing I've seen done before.
So kind of going off of what he has to say, let's hear your contesting on personality.
My contesting. Now, all right. Let's start with the argument that being nice is boring or one-dimensional. It is a critique I've heard of Captain America, Superman, and other characters. I will posit that being nice does not get you at the attention right away, but as this conflict increases, I find that people often root more for the nice one. I liken it to a stone archway in the middle of a field.
Sure.
That on its own, in that tranquil setting, it's just kind of there. Now say that there's a massive storm raging, and that's the one bit of shelter in the entire area. And people take shelter under that kindness.
That's fair.
So it's when you stick to being kind when challenged. And in that way, Optimism Prime here was, I think, a very enjoyable look at when tragedy strikes. I have to admit, we're recording this on September 5th. 4 days away. No. We're 6 days away. 6 days away. I was counting to 9. But we're 6 days away from probably the worst tragedy I've ever witnessed.
The 21st anniversary.
Oh, wow. A lot of you who are viewing this video may not have even been born at that time. So,
or have been very young.
Very young and perhaps don't remember, but I was in college, junior year, and I remember. So, seeing Optimism Prime really have to confront that illusion of safety brings back a lot of those memories. And I admit that when Geats resets the world so all the damage is undone, darned if I'm not a little jealous.
So, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because yesterday when we were having our board game, our friend was mentioning that his brother's birthday is on September 11th. And depending on your experience and how you look at the world, different people have different feelings about it. Everybody feels a sense of loss, but some people feel more loss than others. And so for me, September 11th was a very scary and hard event.
You were all still in Buffalo.
Yes. So we were hours, so basically right across the state. And not that we could see anything from the sky, we weren't that close or anything, but still having family and friends and being in a place that's so... You don't think things like that will happen. And not to bring a downer to this, But I will say, one of the frustrations, and this is one of the few times I actually really detest immediately a main character of a show. So we always joke that assholes are cool. Not cool, don't get me wrong. That girls find assholes sexy.
Anti-heroes.
Anti-heroes, yes. Or that, so, yes, I jokingly say I'm drawn towards those types of characters as a fan and things like that. But this time around, with how cavalier he was, really frustrated me. And I don't say that lightly. Because Tendo was cavalier at times. You had that in Blade, in Fies, in Ryuki, and so many other Rider series. You have that hero be cavalier in a way about a given situation, just because he kind of knows he'll get it done. But usually when they're more cavalier about it, you've had time to really understand their personality, understand their motivations, and while you don't like it even then, you know more about the character that you're like, okay, probably something else going on behind the scenes that we, the audience, are not privy to.
Well, here's a question to that, because we saw that at least the ramen shop owner was brought back to life by his reset, and I'm assuming that all the people we saw being slain were similarly restored.
Assumptively, yes.
So he's cavalier, but he's doing that with the knowledge that he can bring people back. Now granted,
but that also means why even bother caring about the stakes going on when it's just going to be reset anyway?
Yeah, but
depending on who wins.
Well, and so there is that. So there's multiple factors that come into play. And this is kind of like a poor storytelling aspect for me. So he may assume that if he wins, everything will be brought back, no consequences found. But the problem is, us as the audience, we don't... Okay, us as the audience, like the three of us, we're not naive anymore when it comes to Rider series. We know that people don't die forever all the time.
Yeah.
They die in sick. They come back later.
Oh yes, I love you're adapting my description of death in DC Comics.
But
And Marvel.
For a young audience, that this may be their first or second, because Revice kind of flipped the script in a way. If this is their first or second series, or even third possibly, because I don't know what happened during the series that we shall not name, because I didn't see it, that they don't know that. They're not aware that, oh, everybody's going to be okay at the end of the day. You don't have to worry. Bad things are going to happen, but they're going to be fixed. And so I think that kind of is a weak point to me. Because at least with Heisei and other Rider series, if somebody died, they're dead. And I didn't like how he acted, because that's not the person I would root for.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have any personality with him. He clearly the main character is Optimistic Prime. He's the character we're supposed to root for.
Well.
Which I will say, kind of like Dawn Brothers in a way, not comparing because it's apples to oranges. But the one really cool thing is that the main character is not, right now as it appears, the main character is not going to be the main rider. And if that is the case, that will be nice.
Which again is piggybacking off of Kabuto.
Well, at this point, we just had the 50th Rider set in Revise. We're now at 51. Some overlap of story elements is bound to happen.
Well, yes.
Even if you're trying to avoid it.
Well, and I think if we look at Akiba Ranger, which is the greatest Toku show ever, they even demonstrated how many times plot points were rinsed and repeated.
Well, okay, the other thing is, though...
the wedding episode, the summer episode...
Well, I feel like, okay, because in X8, we had Imu and 01 Aruto. We're like these really carefree guys who try to do the right thing all the time. I think the problem I have here with Geats is it's like Takahashi said, I can't do that again. I need to make a character be the complete opposite, but he is poorly conceived, that character, in the total opposite, because he's forcing it himself.
Now, sometimes the most interesting characterization can be a minimal reaction to an extreme situation. Mm-hmm. But I found that can go backwards with Gio.
Okay.
The kid finds out in the first episode that he's going to grow up to be worse than Hitler.
Oh, yes, I do remember that.
And his only commentary is, I'm going to be king. Too bad about the whole tyrant thing. And I was like, I don't like you for that. No. I don't like you for that lack of a reaction. It should be funny, but it's actually very upsetting. And, but to this episode and the lack of context, the rules and the game and why would anyone want to do this, it seems kind of sick. I feel like this is saying, wait until episode 2 to find out. It's like, it's just trying to hook you. It's not trying to set the ground rules.
The problem is it didn't do anything to make me want to come back.
Except at the very end where it literally set a ground rule.
Well, and so it kind of did a Death Note thing.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. That, I remember seeing more, it's in the manga, but in the anime as well, that at the end of an episode, it would have a black screen and go over one of the rules in the Death Note. And so we first get our main character, Optimistic Prime, waking up in his room like, that was a dream, but what did I dream about? Which is normal. Most people, when they dream, they typically have the dream fade fairly quickly. Yeah. And then he is at his favorite ramen shop without his sister, so we'll assume the sister's okay, but new day, new environment, and he's kind of has that niggle in the back of his mind that something happened, but cannot recollect what. So he asks the ramen shop owner,
are you okay?
Exactly, which I think is fair, because the one thing I like about him is, while he is optimistic, he's very even about it. He's not overly hyper.
To the point of naivete?
Yes, he's kind of just like very... and this is not a bad way of saying it, because there's actually good characterizations of it. Very one note.
Okay.
That you just kind of... You feel calm with him. I feel like as an audience member, you feel calm to the point where you're like, okay, if he's calm about the situation, I think we can be calm about the situation. I'll be scared if next episode he panics all to hell. But then we have our cloaked chickadee come in. Apparently she can either duplicate herself or she has mass speed to go all over the place. We see her going to Optimistic and then to Neon. I think that's like the perfect name for this YouTuber.
Well, I'm keeping Chickadee for the other lady because that's just fun.
I love the word chickadee.
Now I'm at a chickadee.
Who's Chickadee?
Chickadee is the kind of the one who
the
gives the host who gives everybody the rider device.
Oh, her.
So, and chickadee, if you don't know, is a 50s term for a woman.
But you see, Cruelica is a woman, so it's not sexist because she started it. I really need to point this out. I really need to point out this is Cruelica's idea. I'm borrowing from her.
You'd be amazed how many times I call women chickadees, because I'd rather call them something else.
Chickadee's nuts.
And we're canceled. Well, we'll see everyone.
Actually, one of the fan sub groups for Geats is actually called These Nuts Fan Subs.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Yeah, but stay tuned for Kaiju no Cancelled.
But anyways, so she gives it to both of them. And then you see her going around to like this older woman on a...
Doing her laundry, was it?
Doing her laundry, somebody who's coming up the escalator, all these different random places. Like, you've been selected for the next Kamen Rider. You've been selected. I do have to say for Neon, it was kind of cool because they were in a cat's petting place, which I know is in Japan, and I so want one of those where you can just chill with cats.
Is there a dog?
Alright, so...
Wait. I'm sorry, but we never talked really about Neon. Because Neon...
Well, I mentioned that she's like Kardashian in the Pauls, but famous for being famous.
Famous for being famous, but she's also kind of a selfish bitch.
She's rich.
Well, I figured I got that just by saying Kardashians and Pauls.
Well, I mean...
But no, it's fair. And, okay.
She's rich.
No, I don't want to assume that someone is awful just because they're rich.
No, I can't assume that because I've met plenty of assholes who are very poor,
I know,
who are middle class, and who are rich.
But
so,
I'm saying that she's rich, she's going to be selfish.
Not necessarily.
Well,
because Ryumon or Barky from Ultraman...
But we're not talking about Ultraman.
Here's the main thing. I don't blame her for being scared. But when Optimism Prime ran to get her, he fumbled the ball trying to catch her, but he ran down to get her.
Yes.
They both run off. He stumbles. She keeps going. And just that one moment where she stops, if she stopped to help pick him up, but no, off.
She's like, poof.
So that's the... If she reflects on that moment and feels like ashamed of it or realizes that's not the kind of person she wants to be, then it contributes to her character growth. Otherwise, if that goes unremarked, I'll have a very negative bias against her.
No, I think that's fair. And alongside that, I will say the other thing that made me dislike the... What's wrong?
Nothing, continue.
To dislike douchey McRider is the fact that after he saves her,
he starts hitting on her.
Then when Optimistic comes up, he's like, "Oh, this is your boyfriend." And they're like, "No, we're not dating." Basically, they just met each other. And he's like, "Ooh, I still have a chance." And I'm like, "Dude, timing. It's everything."
Well, now I'm thinking of Seth MacFarlane's Cavalcade of Comedy, where Mario rescues the princess. And she's like, "Wait, what kind of Samaritan are you? You hit your head on me just after you rescued me?" And I will also say I was thinking of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when he rode into the castle and said it was always easier to damage from the inside. I'm thinking of the Guardians saying, "Well, why do they assume that it's just as tough on the inside?"
So,
yes.
A couple other things. One,
I was thinking
why are we back to the Zenkaiger backgrounds?
Well, you said that too. I was actually waiting to see if you brought that up.
Yes. Why? It looks like we're back to Zenkaiger quality backgrounds.
Well, I will say that it was a far shorter jump than I expected. I mean, he rode that motorcycle. It's like, you're going to reach terminal velocity soon. Oh, never mind.
Okay, I did like the actual monster, the giant castle monster. I did like that. How long do you, or how many episodes do you think we're going to see this bike in?
3.
Yeah, I was going to say...
1.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get at least 2 more appearances, and then it'll disappear.
But what... Actually, I'm curious now. Let us see what those foot soldiers were called.
I'm curious. I didn't...
Kamen...
The reason I didn't mention them is because they were just there.
Well, they seem to be chanting as they performed this, well, horrible culling of human life.
Well, their chanting reminded me kind of like how Geki Ranger, how the vampires...
Oh, the Rinshi,
did their like weird... Yes.
No.
But yeah, I did like the giant monster.
You might have to type in, oh yeah.
Clearly that's where all the budget went.
Well, yes.
Production, post-production.
But the giant creature was also taken out way too easily.
TV show, Geats, allies, Kamen Riders, villains.
Type in Giamato.
Okay.
Go ahead. Foot soldiers, Pawn Giamato. It's loading a Amazon Prime ad. Okay, monster type, foot soldier. Affiliation, Giamato. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Apologies. Motif
Well,
is
it's a J.
a pawn chess piece.
Oh, so it's going to be...
I thought with the red robes and the chanting that they were based on some sort of monster.
Mm-hmm.
Dressed in red kimonos, known as Wasu Giamato. Oh, so we haven't seen the pawn Giamato yet, but there are these Wasu who apparently just have it in for ramen. I can't blame them. I find it quite delicious. I would wear a special ramen jacket if I could. You know, Christmas is coming up.
It's only 16 Fridays away, apparently.
Not much else to be added there, but apparently we haven't even seen the standard Giamato yet.
Well, it makes me wonder, are we going to get regular MOWs, or are they going to be big CGI buildings where the grunts are going to be the main threat?
Well, seeing as how Takahashi has failed for Monster of the Week in his two other series after the first third or quarter, I'd say don't expect much out of the monsters in this one. It's already starting like your typical modern Kamen Rider series. I once again, I feel like Revice felt the most like an early Heisei show, because we actually had an actual villainous organization that weren't just evil Kamen Riders. Here it's just, evil Kamen Riders. Okay.
Well, we don't know for a fact if it is evil Kamen Riders.
It's just Kamen Rider versus Kamen Rider. Okay.
Wow. Well, I mean, it is
Ryuki
Fortnite.
did it better.
No one's technically evil in Fortnite. They're all just teenagers, which makes them horrible, but not evil. I just lost the teen audience.
I was going to say, Children of the Corn had the right idea, huh?
We're all watching you. Reset the world.
That's Village of the Damned.
What did Children of the Corn say?
Nothing like that. They just
Stared
and culled the population after a certain age.
Well, don't do culling, kids.
I do.
That's the message of this. No culling.
So I remember back when I was a teenager, which was
Be a doll. Don't cull.
not that long ago. Really not. It's less than a quarter of a century, right? Maybe, hopefully, but nevertheless, I remember having adults say, "You know what? Kids, when they're like 13 to 18, should just like go away, and then once they turn 18, come back because they'll be ready for society." I feel like we're getting old like that, where we're like, teenagers, get off my lawn.
I just say it to make you laugh.
I just say it because it's funny, and
I mean, I say hi to teenagers at the conventions. They're good peeps.
teenagers.
I say hi to teenagers too.
Now
Are they good peeps?
I'm just thinking of
I
Ivan
don't know.
Ooze in the Power Rangers movie.
Peeps.
Nothing.
I remember Ivan Ooze.
I think I've seen that movie.
All the things I've missed. The Black Plague, the Spanish Inquisition, the Brady Bunch reunion.
Did he really say that?
Yes.
He did.
We watched the movie. It was like 20 years ago, but we watched the movie.
I think RuPaul was in the Brady Bunch reunion.
On that note, we've really got nothing else to talk about for this premiere of Gates. That's why we're just stalling for time.
Geats.
Oh no, we got one other thing.
What?
When his rider belt, he flips it, kind of like Geo, and his body shapes. His head is literally changing places with his ass. It's kind of unsettling.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I mean, I know he had his head up his ass for a while there, but didn't think he'd take it so literally.
That explains so much.
Oh,
But what did you guys think of the first episode to Geats?
Geats.
Geats.
Just think of Geats.
There is no gatekeeping here. Let us know in the comments. Click like, subscribe, the bell notification. Anything else YouTube says, hey, click on this. Yeah,
Except
click
the
on this.
unsubscribe button. Don't click the
Yeah,
unsubscribe.
don't click unsubscribe or dislike. Because you like us. And even if you don't like us, still click like and make a comment because he will read them.
And respond to them.
Yes.
I will read them. And I will respond.
So if you want to support us, obviously you can continue to support us on YouTube. You can also support us at Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, at Kaiju Okami. And you can also check out our website, creativitybydesignllc.com. We do have a store there if you want to shop, and it's creativitybydesignllc.com/shop.
And the link in the description below.
You can also support Mr. Silverquill at MLP_Silverquill. You can do so on Twitter, DeviantArt, Ko-fi, and YouTube. You can also search for him under After the Fact, but just make sure to avoid that news program. While they might be good people, we don't need any more news at this time. We just need him.
Wow, that's building me up a little high. I mean, honestly, yeah, if you watch too much of the news, you're going to get super depressed. I promise not to depress you unless I'm reviewing something really goth, which I don't.
No, but he does talk about the stages of grief.
I do.
And Garo.
And Garo, which was, well, it's dark, but it has this bright optimism in the form of a golden night.
I was talking about the stages of death or grief.
With that in mind,
Yes.
with that said, until next time, bye.